And the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy has reiterated its call on the department to seal off shafts at disused mines. The committee made the call while conducting an oversight visit at illegal mining shafts points in Gauteng. It followed several efforts by the West Rand communities to forcibly remove illegal miners, commonly referred to as zamazamas. Well, joining us now to tell us more about their oversight visit is Sahlulele Luzipho, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Mineral Resources and Energy. Chairperson, good evening and thank you very much for your time. How significant was this oversight visit? What value, in other words, will it add to the people of the West Rand, or was it just mainly a show to appease a community that is currently quite disgruntled by the kind of response that they've been getting from authorities?
Look, good evening to you, Thabo, and the viewers. The first thing, I think it was, from where we sit, it was valuable, both in a positive but also in a negative manner. When the department had made a presentation specifically about the area of where the mine is, quite clearly we were not satisfied with the report because it seems to be just more like an overview, not necessarily a detailed report. For an example, there is still no clarity about the status of the mine. I can safely say that this is not a disused or a derelict and ownerless mine. This is a mine that at some point was under the business rescue practitioners, which confirms the concern that we have raised that most of the mining companies, when they apply for mining licenses, they apply through the MPRDA under the Department of Mineral Resources, which is now Mineral Resources and Energy. But when they are faced with challenges, particularly financial challenges, they resort to the Companies Act, which now allows the use of business rescue practitioners. The problem that is that when a mining right is given, it is not given to a business rescue practitioner, nor to even creditors. It is given to a specific owner of the mine. We can safely say that mine has been active, maybe being active was almost about 9 years ago per se, because what transpired now was that it was using its operation by taking commodity from other plants and process it as if it is its own production. And when the department stopped that kind of a practice, then they went under, but they still hold and or possess the mining certificate. But it's quite a complex matter that is a little bit confusing. But what also was a little bit disturbing was the fact that we have discovered that one of the officials who was very key and central in relation to deal with the enforcement is now currently contracted by one of the mines that has been granted to operate on a mining right as an advisor to that particular company. That then raises questions that what becomes the relationship between officials of government and the mining companies. We are not raising an issue whether it is, because we don't have proof, but it's just concerning that a senior official like that one can then turn and become an advisor after what we see ourselves as a very complicated matter to deal with now.
So a complicated matter to deal with is what you're saying, that there's a business rescue practitioner, there is a mining company that still holds the mining certificate, but there's also a mining company that has not done the necessary requirements in as far as rehabilitating that particular mine. And the communities are saying, well, why is the department not doing anything about this particular mine? And what pressure is the Portfolio Committee going to put on the department to actually act on that?
Look, we said they must go back. I can't reason this thing because I can say even to myself some of the things were quite complicated even for members to understand. And we said they must go back. First, you get about 4 or 3 companies interlinked, one that owns the other companies, the one that is contracted to do work on a company that belongs to it. It's quite a complicated matter. We said, no, please go back. Give us a detailed report. For an example, in that what we would call is a holding company, tell us who are the directors of that company. From all of them, give us the directors and then give us the names of the senior executives. Because some of the issues, for an example, can be suspicious that the collapse that was done, it was done in order that they can introduce a new company that will operate on a mining right that it was not given to it. And that's the reason we said, please, can you go back, give us a detailed information. But the truth of the matter is, that is not necessarily a mine that does not have owners. As far as we know, there is a mine, there's an owner. One of the things also that we said to them is that we don't buy the explanation on the basis that they have been pursuing this thing. In our view, if you've got liabilities of about 381 million rands in terms of environmental compliance, there is a principle of use it or lose it. That company, as far as we can see now, it has been there not using the mining right that it has been given for almost between 7 and 9 years. That we have been asking, why then are these people still keeping the mining right? Because they are not using it. And therefore, those are some of the complications that we think we will be able in the final analysis to deal with them. But with regards to the fact that it has now become a seedbed of criminal activities, that is precisely what we said, that fortunately we'll be engaging, we are going together with our colleagues for the Portfolio Committee on Police. We will be looking comprehensively on the issues that relate to criminal activities as far as illegal mining is concerned, in particular in the gold sector.
So as we sit right now, if people wish to criticize a lack of delivery as far as the sealing of those shafts, where do they complain? Who do they write? Who do they call?
Well, they can complain to the department, but the point is that you can't seal a shaft of a mine that is supposed to be active because it holds a mining right. You only seal a disused mine. Part of that responsibility is not just sealing, is to do what is called rehabilitation, which means it's an attempt that tries to move the soil to what it originally was. But obviously, you can't do that perfectly because there will be components that have been taken out. And this is a different matter. With regards to the sealing of holes, we have got about, by calculation of what existing, about 6,000 holdings that needs to be sealed. Unfortunately, they are subject to what is allocated as a budget. What the Council for Geoscience had given to the committee together with Mintech was that it may take 17 years to close all these mines, except if there is an improvement that is given in terms of resources to quickly close those mines. And that's a risk that we are sitting with, and that is why we said, have they looked at other alternatives? For an example, the South African National Defence Force has got the required skills and expertise that may assist. But most importantly, the issue of illegal mining, in particular the Zama-Zamas, cannot only be reduced into mining. It is a matter that poses threat to national security, and therefore it needs to go beyond the normal commercial transaction that are controlled and managed by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy.
Chairperson, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources, Sahlulele Luzipho.